little bit of the Philippines has landed here in El Segundo, where artist Sara Chao has set up shop in the El Segundo Museum of Art. With her interactive exhibit of a Filipino food stall, and through some hands-on workshops, Sara Chao hopes to share her cultural traditions with our local community. Los Angeles artist Sara Chao has always wanted to connect more with her roots. With support from the El Segundo Museum of Art, Chao has been able to teach visitors about her Filipino culture through the museum's latest experience called Eat, which invites people to rethink their relationships with food.
I think that every culture has something that is familiar to another culture. For example, my piece, the Sari Sari store, it's giving away food and everyone understands what it is to be excited about getting a snack or a treat. Same thing with the Balikbayan Box, it's just another way of expressing how to care for someone. I really want people to be able to see Filipino cultural traditions in a way that kind of is familiar to them.
So this is one of the most interesting and tempting art exhibits I've ever seen, where all of these are actual snacks from when I grew up in the Philippines, and this is a museum. You assume that you're not supposed to touch anything and that this is a work of art and you're supposed to step back, but it doesn't count for this one. This one, they're actually encouraging you to pick these snacks and eat them in the museum.
I've always wanted to have a store art piece of my own. And when I went to see my mom's hometown in the Philippines, I got to experience Sari Sari stores. And I really like that it's supposed to be there as a special place for people to meet, and whenever you need something, you can always just run and get it. So I kind of wanted people to have that experience and also be able to taste the flavors that I grew up eating. So people are able to take a little piece of kind of my culture home with them.
Along with the Sari Sari store art piece, Chao has also been able to teach workshops about another important Filipino tradition, the Balikbayan Box.
So basically, who knows what a Balikbayan Box is? In the Philippines, there's a lot of folks who travel overseas to make money and send it home. And often it's a parent or somebody who you really want to be around but is sending money from far away. And so they also are typically sending these big, huge boxes of supplies. Usually it's things like clothes, like socks and t-shirts and sporting goods. Also a lot of preserved food like canned food, corned beef, Spam, snacks and stuff. And so it's kind of a way of sending love in a way, I would say, and keeping a connection with people back home. Well, I kind of wanted people to be able to make sort of a fanciful version of the Balikbayan Box for someone that they love, especially because Balikbayan boxes are very material, and it's really a tangible symbol of someone who loves you who's far away. And since our age is so digital, I wanted people to kind of make something by hand today. So that's kind of what I'm having people make. Maybe it's not directly something that's practical, so to speak, but it's one lady is making a fabric diaper for her friend that's fostering a child. So kind of a fanciful interpretation of something that you would send that's practical.
It was nice to just take a couple minutes and remind myself how much I enjoy actually making things. I am a very creative person, but I have been very focused on my family and work and doing nothing around for myself. And I found myself after a couple of hours going, this was kind of fun. And just making something nice out of a bunch of random things that were together. And cultural-wise, it was learning a little bit about the Filipino culture and how they like to share things and how they have their family ties with each other.
Actually, my wife told me about this event a couple weeks ago. She saw it on one of the calendars, and my wife has actually been trying to figure out how me specifically can kind of pass down the culture down to these two. My wife is also Filipino, but she's born and raised here. I was born here, but I was raised in the Philippines. I think that, and I can kind of relate to this, as you get a little older, you start wondering kind of where you came from, why do you have certain affinities to certain kinds of things, why do I this is really stereotypical, but why do I point with my lips sometimes, that kind of stuff. You try to figure out, why you have those things inside of you. And eventually when these kids start asking the why questions, hopefully I've exposed them enough to kind of know. And I've taken them back home actually a couple times already. That's helped a lot. Really, it's just about preserving the culture.
I've been so grateful to be able to also show here in El Segundo, which is less than 5 miles away from where my family immigrated, at Tom Bradley International Terminal. So it means so much for me to be able to share their culture and my culture in this sort of formal museum setting.
Well, this has certainly been a very fulfilling experience here at SMOA. I'm really glad to have been able to revisit my childhood, and I'm really also glad that some people were able to experience my culture. For El Segundo TV, I'm Natasha Gascon.